Hello everyone, it is Grey Moon. We are back after a long time. You might have known this channel under the former name of Anime Spaz. Still the same person, still the same channel, but the name has changed, and the ideal of content is going to change a little bit. I had initially started the channel to keep the videos and pictures I had taken, to chronicle my time at the anime cons I went to, which I am still a part of. I'm still a part of the anime community. I still go to cons, but I go for different reasons now. I don't go to cons so much just to go and cosplay anymore, as I've started going to cons as a way to turn it into a trip. So going to a con now could be going to a big city and turning it into a week-long trip, so I get to see a different part, because I've never lived outside of where I live, and this way I can visit different states in the United States, because I've never I got to do that once when I was 7. It's been a while since then. I apologize for the bad lighting. I don't really have a good setup right now for this. I'm doing this off my phone because my camera broke many years ago, and I lost my laptop, so we're gonna have to just work with this as best we can for the moment. And I'm in the secondary room because that's my Twitter. I don't have time for that right now, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to give my girlfriend time to play the game, so I came over here to give her time. So we'll have to work. It's a little dark, but hopefully a little video editing will take care of that. So, as I've said, the content's going to change a little bit. And not only am I going to start vlogging my adventures again at the anime cons, because like I said, these aren't going to be just cons anymore. These are going to be trips around the city. In fact, my biggest vlog, and my first one, honestly, that's going up, is I'm going to E3 this year in Los Angeles. And for any of you that don't know, E3 is a giant gaming event that is technically only for journalists and game. It's for the internal departments of the game industry. So the people selling the games, people making the games, people reporting on the games. Not normally the public. But this past year, they decided to open ticket sales to the public. And so we're gonna go, and we're gonna check it out. So that'll be really awesome. So one of the first vlogs, my first trip vlogs, will actually be when we go to LA, which will be in June. So got a little bit of time before that, but I'll give you guys, as the lead up to it, I'll let you know what's going on and how we go about it. But for this vlog today, not only is this going to be a re-intro to the channel a little bit, we're going to review, I'm going to start by a vlogging series where I review some of my favorite 90s manga and even anime. As I still love anime and manga, and I am still a video game fan as well, so I'm going to review and give some opinions on some of my favorite animes and games and manga, and just in general, many of the things from the 90s that I miss. I was born in 89, so, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. Now, I do have, and we'll talk about music as well, because a big part of me being an anime fan actually came because I got into J-pop and Visual K many, many years ago. And like I said, that'll be a whole nother video. We'll talk about that. But, so, that's what a lot of the series is going to be. And so tonight, for the first video, we are going to review a series that I got into, it's about 5 years now, but the series itself came out in Japan around 98, I want to say. You can look this up and tell me if I'm wrong. I don't have the exact dates on me, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but I do know that it came out in Japan in the 90s, and I believe the early 2000s was when it was published by Tokyo Pop here in America. Now, as we all know, Tokyo Pop went down under, the American branch of Tokyo Pop went under many, many years ago. So getting copies of this now isn't that difficult because Amazon apparently got a hold of a lot of the stock that was left, and I've been able to replenish the series slowly in my own collection by going to Amazon. I actually stumbled onto the series at Half Price Books, because some people had sold their copies, and Half Price Books was selling them for $4 a copy. And that's about what they're worth on Amazon right now. They don't have much value, even though it's not that common of a series. It's more of a niche series, but it didn't gain enough of a following. The anime for the show only had 4 episodes. That's all it got. because apparently they tried to do in 90s this was very common, they tried to do the cell shading technique in the animation, which is where they took the cells that were used to create the panels for the manga, and they tried to put them to a still screen, in essence, and make them into an anime. And it's very static, it's very still, and it worked for some shows. There was an animated version of The Count of Monte Cristo, which I don't own, but I will look up and I will cover at some point, because I did see it in the past. And it worked for that. But the show was very much about the visual appeal of The Count of Monte Cristo as opposed to the story, so it worked. Petshop of Horrors is about the story, not so much. The visual appeal is a big part of it, but the story is the grabber. And the problem was the anime, because it was so static with them doing cell shading, it just didn't work. That's my understanding of cell shading. Now, if you know that better than me, feel free to correct me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the first volume looks like, and I will read you the description that is given on the back, and then we'll go from there, and we'll see how you like it. So, I'm going to change my angle here a bit, guys, don't mind me. So, welcome to Chinatown. During your visit, be sure to stop by County's pet shop, where love and dreams are sold in the forms of magical creatures, mythical creatures, but not without a catch. The buyer must adhere to a set of rules which, if broken, may result in death or worse. Yeah, sounds great, right? It's totally a pet shop you want to go into. Like, yeah, let's go buy a pet here. It's only got a warning saying if you don't follow everything exactly, you're gonna die. But it's all good, right? Well, as macabre and as dark as that sounds, it does get pretty dark. A good portion of this series, and oh my god, this one's still falling down, my lord. A good portion of the series, the main character, Count D, which is this black-haired gentleman here on the front of the cover. Can you see that with the dark light in here? Probably not. It looks like shit. I'm sorry. Count D is the proprietor of the shop, and he views humans with a love-hate, I would say, relationship. Humans, in his eyes, and in nature, fall under the category of animals. They're just animals he doesn't like. Count D himself, in the pet shop he owns, most of these pets are exotic pets that are hard to get a hold of, and in essence, D's given them a chance to survive in his shop because most of them are either extinct, or some of them have even come to him on purpose for safety. And he does. And he only sells you a pet you deserve. His favorite saying is, every person gets the pet they deserve. Which, yeah, that might leave a little in your mind, but it is a little bit of a macabre and dark story. So if you want something really happy and fluffy, and Tokyo Pop, a lot of their stuff is, this is not it. This is a lot of dealing with humanity and what humanity does right and wrong and the impact it has. It's a lot of that. It's also a lot about human relationships and how their relationships affect and interact with animals. There are some good stories in here. There was a story later down the road about a young woman and a German Shepherd she gets, or a Doberman, as a guard dog. The story ends well, but and it's one of the few. There are some well-ending ones, not all of them are dark macabre, but a good portion of them are. In the first volume here, many of these stories are people who made mistakes without thinking. They didn't follow the rules in their contract that they signed, which is something you have to do when you get a pet with County, which is a contract with terms, and you sign that contract. And just like any other business, once you sign this contract, D is not responsible for any of the effects, because you have signed the contract saying he's not. So, it may seem like a cop-out, but you came to him to get a pet, and he is a businessman, and he has a business, so that's how he runs. But many of these stories are, some of them, there is a story in here that's one of my favorites in this first volume, which is kind of a sad romance. A Romeo, not even a Romeo and Juliet story, because Romeo and Juliet was about lust, and it was, for anyone who doesn't know, that was a sarcastic parody, in essence. Shakespeare made that as a joke, just in case anybody doesn't know that. It was supposed to be a joke. He knew it was young people lusting, not in love. But I just used the Romeo and Juliet because these two, the one story that with these characters, it just ends in a kind of sad way, and it does get you. But not all of the sad endings are like bad things. On some of them are just sad because it seems like once you read the story, it seems like fate decided that it was going to end that way, no matter what they did. So. The other favorite in here is one of parents. There's these two wealthy parents who have lost their daughter. Oh, I'm sorry, this is going to have some spoilers. I'm sorry. It's just the easiest way to explain this one, so... But believe me, you'll still have to read it to fully get what I'm talking about. I can explain it to you, but unless you see it, you're going to kind of be like, I have no idea. But one of my favorite stories in here is the story of two wealthy parents who lost their only child. The child was a drug addict and a troublemaker. She got into fights. And she ends up dying because of a drug overdose. Well, the parents go to Count D to get a pet to try to help them. And they intend to get a dog or cat, something they can take care of, that'll help take care of their grief. Well, D gives them a rabbit. This rabbit, they name Alice, which is the name of their dead child. Now, there's something you have to know about the pets in Count D's shop. Most of the pets are... Hold on here, let me find this. They look like animals in some shots, and then in others, they don't look like animals at all. I'm sorry if my head was down there for a minute. I'm trying to find a good shot to show you. And then some others, they don't look like animals at all. They're not even anthropomorphic. They just look human in some shots. Because those with, it's in essence, some incense that Dee keeps in the shop that helps you see them for what they are outside of their animal forms. So, let's find, like, this creature right here, this creature sitting here, is actually a bird. And that's what he looks like in his human-esque form. And a lot of the creatures have a human-esque form, which you will see very often throughout the series. You will see their four-legged form or whatever, but they do have that human-esque form, which is a lot of the time what you see in the series. And it's, so with the story of the couple, the rabbit in her human-esque form looks like their daughter when she was a child, when they spoiled her, and that's why she never accepted the consequences of anything she ever did. She never was held accountable. She looks like their dead daughter from when she was a child, and the parents ecstatically take her home, thinking they can start over. As they say in the book, they think, we'll start over. Now, one of the things about this rabbit was that they were given very clear instructions that she cannot be seen by anyone, and she cannot eat anything but vegetables and water. Now, if you've ever owned a rabbit, that makes sense. You don't give them anything else, unless you want them to get sick and die. Most foods, human foods, are toxic to them, as it's toxic to most animals. And they give her that, and she literally gives birth because her baby, she gives birth because of this. And the babies chew their way out of the stomach and kill her. And then they start multiplying, and they keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. It's insane. The town is then overrun by killer rabbits that are trying to eat people. Great day, right? And that's one of the stories in this first volume. There's about 4 to 5 stories per volume. Depends. But yeah. Oh, and the one about the Doberman and the girl is in here as well. And like I said, that's one of my other favorites. So... it's a very good series. Like I said, it is very macabre. It's very dark. If you want something happy-go-lucky, I would not suggest this. If you do not want to see blood and gore, don't get this. If you do not want to read something that will sometimes make you question your own humanity, do not read this, because you will. But if you're okay with all those things, come and check it out. I will admit there's a little bit of humor in it, but it's very dark humor. So you have to kind of have a twisted sense to see it, and you have to accept some kind of humor to see it. But it's very good. I cannot suggest it enough. If you guys want more info on this series, feel free to contact me in the comments below. I will be checking as often as possible to try to answer your questions. I do have a Twitter, but I need to fix it, so I will not give you the link to my Twitter yet. I need to get it set up the way I want it to look and be. When I do, I will add my Twitter link, and you guys can contact me on Twitter as well. So I want to thank you if you get back onto one of my new videos after a very long time and decide to listen, and hit that subscribe button if you like, because I will put at least one video a week, and if it's not a review of a manga, it will be of an anime. I will review games. A good portion of them will be from the 90s. I will also give my opinion on some newer stuff, as long as I have the proper information to back it up. And eventually I will make a series in which I go over, I have quite a few collectibles from my childhood that I'm very proud of, that I would like to show off, and I will give you some backstory on them. And eventually I will also talk about what I mentioned before, how I got into anime and into manga, because I was a big J-pop / Visual K fan. Visual K. Big time. And like I said, there's a whole other story time that we will get into at some point here. So, in the meantime, thank you so much for checking it out. Like I said, please hit the subscribe button. Contact me in the comments. I will be looking, and hope to see you guys in a week. Have a good day, have a good night, and try to do your best to enjoy what we have. Bye!